Thanks for tuning in to the Real Deal Show, brought to you by bodyboarding.com and Tribe Boards. Hey everybody, Jay Reale here with another edition of the Real Deal Show, continuing in our series of Meet the Staff. And this is our final installment in that series, Meet the Staff. Our longest running employee here, this is our right-hand man, the guy who we couldn't really do this without. This is Josh Wright. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you very much, Jay.
No worries.
Pleasure to be here.
No worries. We're stoked to have you, buddy. Clip that. Oh, you're good. You're good with the mic. So we got the mics all hooked up. Josh is, like the rest of our employees, very stoked to do this interview.
Yes,
he's really comfortable on camera.
Very happy.
I love putting these guys on the spot. That's half the fun of this thing. So
you saved the best for last.
That's right. I did save the best for last. No, I don't want to put down Tommy and Gianna. That is not true. You're all
stars.
Great.
They're rock stars as well.
And maybe we'll get Adam in here in the summertime if he comes back. Okay, so let's get to the questions here. Let's start out, Josh, with first of all, how long have you worked at bodyboarding.com?
In 2022, it'll be 7 years.
7 years, man. And tell everyone out there what you do here at bodyboarding.
I am the warehouse manager. I ship all the orders. I organize our warehouse, make it look nice for all the walk-in customers, keep the product coming in, and more importantly, keep it going out to you guys.
And so all of the stuff that goes out of this warehouse, this guy's had his hand on it, whether pulling it or packing it, and usually both. Obviously, at busier times of the year, we all kind of chip in. So Josh is the guy who makes sure your stuff gets to you safely, intact, and it's the right stuff. So this guy, he's an integral part of this operation here. And Josh, you do other stuff too. Sometimes you help customers when we're super busy.
Yes, I do. I help walk-in customers. I answer the phone. Today I clean the bathrooms.
You clean the bathrooms. It's truly, everybody does a little bit of everything here. We unload trucks.
Yes.
Josh taught me how to drive the forklift.
That was fun.
Because he has forklift rating, apparently.
He's still learning. It's a learning.
Still learning.
It's a little bit of a learning curve.
Not as good as him. He could literally race around a racetrack, I think, on the forklift and win. He's that good at driving.
Practice.
Yeah. So let's just jump into it. Let's talk about where you were born and raised. Tell me that.
I was born and raised here in San Clemente, California, where the bodyboarding offices are located. I currently reside in Laguna Niguel, but my heart will always be in San Clemente.
So he's really a San Clemente local from way back in the day. And, you went to the local schools. Tell me about your early years growing up in San Clemente. Like, what was your daily life like here?
I can't complain. I don't think anybody who grew up in the 80s can complain about their childhood. I was privy to the release of the Nintendo and when skateboarding was popular, but most importantly, when bodyboarding was in its infancy.
Yep.
And you could watch the contests on ESPN.
Yep.
Those were, when I look back at my childhood, those were the things that really held it together, was the beach, bodyboarding, my crew, and watching you guys, reading the magazines, going to the grocery store if I couldn't afford a magazine and looking at it there. And
yes. So you were around really at like in the heyday of the sport. Did you used to hang out down at the beach at T Street where me and the other local pros would hang?
Not really too much. I remember me and my crew, we were pier rats. We hung out at the south side of the pier. T Street was always kind of intimidating for us because of the likes of you, Brian Wise, guys like that, Keith Sasaki out there shredding. We did go there quite a bit, but not as much as I think we should have. We would have probably benefited a lot from that scene a little more. There wasn't much of a bodyboarding scene on the south side of the pier.
Well, you said you were intimidated. Like, what did you think? We were going to heckle you or something?
When you're a kid and you see these pros, you never know what to think.
Right.
Now I look back on it, I think that was a bad decision because now knowing you and knowing how, as I got older and, that kind of wore off, that intimidation, I realized that you guys were so open to have new people come in and show them the sport and introduce them. And not only that, but mentor them and tell them what they're doing wrong. And, and before that, I surfed. And that vibe wasn't really in the surfing community at that time. It is now, but at that time it really wasn't. Yep. So, that's kind of what gravitated me to bodyboarding was the family atmosphere and the water between everybody.
Yeah, it was like, we were a tight-knit community back
Yes,
in those
yeah.
days. There was thousands and thousands of surfers, but bodyboarders, there was less of us. So I think everyone stuck together. One thing I will say, by not hanging out at T Street, you avoided Grom abuse.
Completely.
Because I
yes,
guarantee
definitely.
you guys, Cameron and his crew,
Yes.
not me. I didn't involve myself in that tomfoolery, but Cameron would have abused you.
I
and
worked
all your
with
buddies.
Cameron at a BIM magazine unload when I was
Oh,
in
wow.
junior high school, and he was very interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about Cameron Steele, who is a local bodyboard pro who's now, an announcer on TV and an off-road racer, one of the top off-road races. We're going to get him in here at some point for an interview because I have a long history with him as well. So Josh, obviously you were a pier rat. You were hanging out. You're bodyboarding at the pier. You also were kind of into fishing, I understand.
I was
right?
a huge fisherman, yes. There was a point in my life where if there was no waves, I was fishing. If there was waves, I was bodyboarding. So there was one or the other. The ocean's always been part of my life.
Right.
Always.
Brothers, sisters?
Only child.
Only child?
Yep.
Okay. And what's your situation now in terms of family? Tell me about that.
I have a daughter, a 15-year-old daughter named Jaden. Hi, Jaden.
Yep. What's up,
Jaden?
Jaden?
A little sister who's 7 named Josie. Hi, Josie. They're kind of my world. Neither one of them are really into bodyboarding. They like the beach, but they didn't really get the bug like I wish they would have. I think everybody wishes their kids would be into the same thing.
Every beach person. Yeah, anything that you're into, you wish your kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it doesn't always happen.
I can't complain. They don't hate going to the beach, so I'm lucky that I do get to spend some time at the beach with them, and they like to go out on the bodyboard, but they don't like to do it like we like to do it.
Yep. Well, I'm sure they have their own interests, and Josh here, he's an outstanding father, so I'm sure supports whatever
they
do.
Very much.
Thanks, man. So you were into fishing, you're into bodyboarding, you grew up going to the schools locally, and then at that point when you were in high school, what did you have a vision for your future? Like, did you think, I want to do this or that, anything specific? Or?
Well, now that I look back, I wish I would have. But no, I mean, I was the epitome of a beach rat. I just wanted to graduate high school because I knew when I graduated high school, that meant more time at the beach, which now looking back is not, kids, that's not the best way to look at it. There's always time for the beach. But I just remember thinking, man, when I graduate, I'm going to get a job. But I won't be working as much as I'm going to school, so I'll be able to go to the beach more, and that was definitely not the case.
Well, lifestyle took a front seat for
Absolutely.
you. You're like, I want to enjoy my life. And, I'll say, not to jump back to my own story, but I went to college, but I studied to be a high school teacher specifically because I wanted to have summers off, weekends off, holidays off to surf.
Yes.
So, I think that's the whole theme here is you get the bug for riding waves, bodyboarding in our case, and you want to build your life around it somehow.
Absolutely. Yes.
Whatever you end up doing for a living, So, there's a fine point there where you got to go, okay, what's really important in my life? Is it, enjoying something I love to do and hoping to make a living that supports that? Or am I going to give up what I love to do and put work first? And, I think it depends on your individual situation, but I'd say most people that are happy in their lives, they've figured out a way to get that balance.
I agree.
Where they still get to do the activity they've always loved, and then, they find a way to make their life and their work with that.
Absolutely.
So to speak. Yeah.
And I was lucky when I graduated high school, I was working at Surfrider Foundation, so that's a whole family of people that love the ocean and have dedicated their life to preserving it. So we were always around the ocean, in the water. So
what did you do at Surfrider?
I was the membership director.
Okay.
I wrote direct mail, fundraising letters, and managed the database of the membership.
And you've had a lot of different jobs, man. I mean, over the last, let's say, 20 years, your working years, right?
Well, I'd say I can count the number of jobs I've had on my hands, but I've had them for a very long time. I've had 3 jobs for over 10 years. Then I've had this job for 7. I've never had a job less than 2 years, I don't think. No. never been fired from a job.
Yeah.
So I take my work pretty seriously.
Yeah, man.
I love what if I get a job somewhere, I'm going to do my best.
That's why Josh is still here after almost 7 years, and we hope he never leaves.
I don't plan on it.
We really hope so.
Kicking and screaming if you want me out of here, Jay.
Good. So let's talk about, this job. Obviously, we mentioned working around your lifestyle. You were able to go, we had a trip to BSR, and you went on a surf trip to BSR. Was that your first surf trip? You've been to a few down in Baja, right?
Yes, I've been to Mexico a couple times, Baja Malibu specifically, but I've never gotten on a plane specifically to go somewhere just to surf. I've been to Hawaii on vacation and then bodyboarded while I was there, or visited friends, but never really flown somewhere specifically just to bodyboard.
Right.
And at BSR, it was somewhere going just to bodyboard with a bunch of people that want to bodyboard too.
Like-minded people, yeah.
And people my age, people older, people younger, but everybody having that same stoke.
Right.
On bodyboarding now, bodyboarding in the past. It's amazing.
So,
probably one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah, so did it live up? And we're talking about BSR, which is the Barefoot Ski Ranch. It used to be called. Now it's just called BSR Surf Resort. It's outside of Waco, Texas. We do a trip called the Texas Tube Tour. We've mentioned it several times. We have videos on YouTube of the trip. And Josh here launching airs and getting barreled. So did it meet your expectations when you went to BSR?
Exceeded it.
Really?
Tenfold.
So, how so? I mean, did you just think, okay, this is going to be a kind of a fun dribbly wave?
You don't realize how mechanical it is.
Yeah.
How they can make every wave so perfect and the same every time. When you're in the ocean, the wave is always different, a little different. No matter if you think it looks the same, it's always just a little different.
Yeah.
That place just seems like every wave is the same. So it enables you to, push yourself beyond what you could in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's shallow, I'll say that. And it's very powerful.
Concrete bottom,
Concrete bottom, yes. You do leave some skin there if you want to have fun.
So, hold on. Before we move on, let's talk about last time you went to BSR. So, Josh has been twice. In 2020, the first time we did Texas Tube Tour, Josh came, and there was a little bit of a mishap. Talk about that.
I fractured my patella. I hit the bottom. I aired out a little too far into the flats, I think. Maybe not what I should have done. And I landed on my knee and fractured my patella. But I will say I surfed the rest of the day and half of the next day before I was blacking out from the pain.
Now, you didn't know you had fractured your patella. You just thought you bruised your knee.
Yes.
And we saw you limping in and out of the water. And we kind of knew something was wrong because towards the end of the first day, Vicky and I were like, hey, Josh, take my last 15 minutes. And you were like, no, I'm good.
Yes.
And you were just sitting in the water with the GoPro videoing everyone else. And I was like, he must be hurt. He's got to be hurt, man. If he's skipping like surf time, something's going on. And then we got back to the hotel and you were just limping.
Yes.
And that never stopped.
And my knee ended up being more swollen than my quad.
Yeah.
It was just so big it looked like a pea in the middle of a straw. It was just my leg and then a big ball and then the rest of my leg. It was rough.
So it was rough, and you came back here and came back to work because, you're stubborn like a lot of us guys are. Yes. And you were like, it'll heal, I'll be fine. And you never went to the doctor. And I think like 10 days went by.
I waited a week.
Was it a week?
Yes. And then Vicky
insisted.
Yes, told me that I needed to go. I couldn't come back to work. And we all know how I feel about that. So
yeah.
I went in and they x-rayed it, and I had fractured, chunked off the end pretty good, almost halfway. But because I waited a week, it had started to heal already.
Oh, man.
So they put me in that brace that locked my leg straight for 4 weeks, and then slowly but surely they let it bend a little more. That was awful.
Yeah, you were still coming in. I think you took maybe a couple days off.
I missed 2 days.
And still came in and limped around the warehouse. Yep. I think, the fact that it was September and we weren't quite as busy was a blessing in disguise.
And
but
we had no containers during that time period. It was I got very lucky.
The timing
I was blessed for sure.
Was good. So
and blessed that I don't have any more issues moving forward.
No ongoing problems. So this year you went, was that in the back of your mind, like hitting the bottom again? You were making a conscious effort not to do that?
It was kind of, because everybody kept saying stuff to me about it, like, oh, are you going to hit the bottom, or, be careful of your knee. But I remember the first wave I took off on, I said, I'm not even going to think about it, because if I do that, then I've already lost, kind of, in a way.
Right.
I'm not putting my all into it, and there you get a certain amount of waves, and you don't want to waste them. So you want to go as hard as you can to have the most fun. Yep. So no, I didn't really think about it. The one time I hit that air and the board went under me, I did a little, and that's why I kind of turned it to my side and landed on the board.
Yeah, right.
That was the only time that in the air I was thinking, oh man, this could turn out pretty bad.
Yeah, because right where that air section is, it's literally like 1 foot deep.
Yes.
And it's hard concrete.
When you're in the air and you look down, you can see the water actually being sucked off of the concrete because it's pulling into the wave. Yeah. So you're in the air and you're looking down, you could just see the concrete. And usually in the ocean, you're spotting your landing. There, you're trying to hold yourself up so the whitewash can come underneath you to give you some cushion. Yeah, there's no room for error. No. Literally, if you land sideways, you're going to hit the concrete. Yeah. So it's, it would be nice if there was cushion on the bottom. But in a related note, BSR, they closed about a week ago, which is just before Christmas, and they drain that pool every year. And the manager told me one time they just recover so much stuff at the bottom of that pool. The guy said they found like 50 GoPros or something, like wedged in the motors and wedged in with the suction and GoPros, all over the bottom. Man. And the question is, what do they do with them? Do they keep them? Do they sell them? Because there's got to be clips on those cameras, and if they really wanted to, they could download the clips and go, okay, who's this guy? Oh, I remember him. He was here in August. But that would take forever. It would be a great commercial for GoPro to take the oldest one they found and say, hey, look how great this looks after a year in the bottom of our pool with the waves constantly moving, rolling on concrete, and it still works. It's absolutely a good point. Good marketing thing. GoPro, absolutely. You're welcome. Josh came up with a marketing idea for you. You can Venmo me my royalties at Josh Wright. That's right. That's right. We'll give. What's your Instagram, Josh? Can you spell it out for us? Do you want to give a publicity to your Instagram? People can follow you. I just set it up back. It's JRP_Wright, WRIGHT. Okay, so you can follow Josh on Instagram. He's brand new to Instagram. He's been on Facebook for a while, but Instagram's new. And give him a follow. Send him a DM if you want. That means direct message. Thank you. Yes. We have an inside joke. I said something to my daughter about that, and I didn't know what it meant, but I thought I was cool to say something, and she laughed. She laughed. Yeah, I know. We don't. I'm the same. My kids have to tell me all this crap. I'm so not into social media, so I don't know any of this stuff. But I try to be cool, and it ends up working backwards. Well, today we were talking about NFTs here in the office, non-fungible tokens. For those of you who don't know, and I don't really totally understand them, but Manny Vargas does. So go check out Manny Vargas. Manny Vargas knows a lot. He's selling NFTs. He knows a lot about a lot of stuff. He does. Yes, Manny is the king of bodyboarding media, as I coined him when I interviewed him. You can see that interview back, like episode number 3 or 4 of the Real Deal Show. It's a 2-parter with Manny. He threw out a few choice words, so I had to. Yes, put the warning. That was one of the first ones. That was the early morning when he brought in bagels. That's right. Yeah. He did. He brought in food. So, we love Manny. Anyway, so that's sidebar there. So Josh, I'm going to give you 2 last questions, and this one is going to throw you for a loop. That's okay. What is the one thing about e-bodyboarding, our operation here, that most people would never know that goes on, like, behind the scenes? Like, is there anything here that people have no idea what, how we run things here? Probably a couple things come to mind. That we are the North American warehouse for Science, Gyroll, and MS Vipers. So that's right. People don't know that all of the North American product comes here. So not only are we bodyboarding, but we're also the hub for all of Mike Stewart Science merchandise.
Yeah. And this guy ships it all out. So
Absolutely.
whether you order on our site or Mike's site, it's coming from here, and this guy's packing it up.
Absolutely. The other thing is that there's only 5 of us here.
Yes.
At any given time. That's the extent of our staff.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people come in here and they think there should be more of us.
Yes.
But there's not. And then we do a lot with a few people, which I think is great.
Yeah. I like when people call up and they're like, can I have your accounting department? Can I have your shipping department?
They don't realize
it's like
that everybody sits in the same room. Yeah, they're all sitting pretty much right next to each other.
And we're all bodyboarders here. So, when people come in and they want to ask for advice, literally you could ask any one of us.
Absolutely.
We all know the products inside out. Josh knows where everything is, in addition to not only knowing the product himself, but anyone can help you here is the point. Sometimes people call and they get, they ask for a certain person, but really anybody can help. So,
definitely.
So Josh, we've gotten a little insight into you. Are there any shout outs, any thank yous you want to throw out? You already said hi to Jaden and Josie.
Say hi to my mom, obviously. You always got to say hi to your mother.
Of course.
Yeah.
Any friends from the past that helped you along the way that you want?
Well, there is
that might not ever watch this. I don't know.
Well, I'll make them watch it. I'll send it to them.
Love it.
They're like the guys I grew up bodyboarding with. The guys that kept me into bodyboarding and pushed me. The guys I went on trips with, like Andy Falk, Tony Cortez, Nick Thomas.
They kept you out of trouble, right?
No comment. But yeah, guys like that, just Jeff Schernick, guys I grew up with that, through thick and thin, they all live in Hawaii now. Chris Falk, Andy's brother, Pep. Just guys that would call me at 6 in the morning and say, let's go to the beach. I'm like, no, I'm lazy. And they'd get up, or they'd come and throw rocks at my window until I woke up, and I think that made me the morning person I am now. I was kind of always getting up to go bodyboarding at the crack of dawn, and those guys, just like I was to them, if they said they were going to go, they were going to go.
Yeah.
And so we always held each other to a higher standard. And
so how many years bodyboarding for you now since you started? How old were you when you started?
My first bodyboard, 10, so 34 years.
Wow, solid. And what are you riding now, and what fins are you using?
I ride a style-loaded quad vent, 41.5.
Shout out Mike Stewart, style-loaded quad vent.
And I use MS Vipers, the black yellow dot.
There you go, man. You can order those now at
ebodyboarding.com.
Right on. So that is Josh Wright in the final installation of our Meet the Staff series. We're totally stoked, as always, to talk to our staff. Josh is our longest running staff member. He's really, I shouldn't say staff member, family member. We're all like a bodyboarding family here. Josh is the kingpin out here, and we love having him. So Josh, we're stoked. We're looking forward to many years and more surf trips ahead, which we'll get into at a later time.
Let's go Fiji.
Because there's going to be a Fiji trip coming up. We'll have more on that later. But for now, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of The Real Deal Show. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notifications when we put out new videos, how-tos, or Real Deal shows. And throw some comments in down below. Give Josh a little shout out and follow him on Instagram.
I will definitely read them.
Earlier, definitely, yes. And if you're listening on the audio, thanks for checking us out during your workout or your drive or whatever it is you do while you listen to podcasts. And folks, that'll do it. I will see you in the surf.
Happy